Let's bring in Maoz Inon, an Israeli peace activist who has spent his career advocating for peace between Israelis and Palestinians. His parents were killed in the October 7th attacks. He joins us from Binyamina in Israel. Maoz, how are you processing everything, not just that's happening today, but that's been happening for the last 5 weeks? This phase one of the deal with Israeli captives being released, on a weekly basis, and Palestinian prisoners being released. How do you feel about all of it?
I'm feeling very sad. Definitely when there are bodies that being exchanged, I feel that our politicians on both sides continue to debate, to argue, and negotiate over our blood, over our life, and not envisioning or promising us any better future like both people deserve. So what is happening now should have happened 500 days ago, just after the October 7th attack happened, after my parents were killed. The negotiation for the hostages, for the prisoner, must have begun then. And now, more than 500 days afterwards, we were supposed to be negotiating very hard on a lasting peace, to start a reconciliation process between the two nations. And we are just wasting time, we are wasting life, and we are wasting our future. It's very sad.
Maoz, you have said before that you forgive Hamas for killing your parents. That forgiving Hamas now puts you in a very small minority in Israel, as you know better than me. But it hits differently, obviously, coming from somebody who has experienced direct personal loss at the hands of Hamas. Can you run us through that?
Yes, definitely. I think it was 3 months after my parents were killed that I was listening to the Palestinian peace activist Hamza Awoude, who say that he is willing to forgive about the past, he is willing to forgive about the present, but he won't and cannot forgive, not to himself and to no one else, for the future, for not creating a better future. So I was asking myself, if I want to be an active and happy and healthy person like Hamza Awoude, the Palestinian peace activist, whom should I forgive? Whom should I forgive? And the immediate, and might say, this was the easy answer, to forgive Hamas. Because in my narrative, Hamas on October 7th was acting upon his nature. Hamas is a fundamentalist, extremist, terror organization that is oppressing and killing his own people and killing innocent people. If they are Jewish Israelis, even better. But I was seeking revenge. I want to punish. I want them to pay the price, those who betrayed in my parents' life and on so many of my childhood friends, those who promised them security and safety. I was seeking revenge within the Israeli government. And those feelings were destroying me from the inside. And I decided to forgive both Hamas and the Israeli government and focus only in the future, realizing by forgiving those who harmed me, I'm freeing myself. I'm freeing myself from being a slave to those who harmed me, to those who are accountable and those who actually killed my parents. And it's a redemption. It's a redemption, and I become pure. I healed myself. And from that moment on, I was able to channel my pain, my sorrow, my agony, and all my resources into a dialogue. Dialogue with Palestinians, dialogue with Israelis, dialogue that will bring us to a better future. And deciding to forgive is very difficult. It's very difficult.
Maoz, can I jump in for a second? This word forgive, it seems to me so important, and in a year and a half, almost a year and a half of reporting on this from this chair, you're the first person I've spoken to who has uttered that word of forgiveness. What reaction do you get when you say those things within Israel?
So yes, we are still the minority, but my parents always told me, Maoz, always do what your hearts tell you. Even if you are the only one in the world that believe in what you're doing, keep on doing it. So I'm just continuing my parents' legacy. But there are many organizations. One of the most prominent one is the Family Circle. It's an organization of Israeli and Palestinian bereaved families that have been working together now for 2, maybe 3 decades, working together, creating dialogue group, creating support group for both people, because there is no difference in our tears, in our pain. We are all suffering for the ongoing conflict that didn't start 500 days ago. It started about a century ago. And we believe that forgiveness is the key to end this cycle, to end the bloodshed.
And I wonder, have you been able to convince anybody of this since October 7th? Because you are advocating forgiveness. As you said, you are, in your view, carrying on your parents' legacy, and that's what they would have done and wanted you to do. But have you convinced anybody? Have you brought anybody over as an advocate to your side?
Yes, I convinced many, starting with my own family. My eldest sister is now the chairman of the family bereaved family. And on coming May, in less than 4 months from now, in Jerusalem, on the 8th and 9th, we're going to do the People Peace Summit, the largest peace event I think the Middle East have seen in few decades. And we're going to have Palestinians, we're going to have Israelis, we're going to have artists, people from the academy, philosophers, people from the security field, and together at the People Peace Summit, we're going to advocate for peace, we're going to advocate for reconciliation, and we're going to advocate and show how the future can be just amazing. And like so many conflicts ended around the world, if it's from the Rwanda, from Europe, from America and Japan. So everywhere you look for throughout history, there is a conflict that ended. And the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is going to end soon, and we are working very hard now as the civil society to go into a leadership position and changing the discourse. And so this interview is very important in order to achieve that. So I want to thank you for hosting me in your show.
Well, one more thing for you then, and I know I'm sort of circling around the same topic, the same theme here. If you spoke to a Palestinian who said, hey, Israel has killed 62,000 people in the Gaza Strip, including women, children, the elderly. If you spoke to, and I believe you have, to people in Nir Oz in Israel saying, hey, Hamas has killed children here too, and the elderly here too. And if they said to you, whether they're Palestinian or Israeli, I cannot forgive that. I just can't do it. What do you say to them?
Mm-hmm. I would say that I'm crying with them. I cried with them from October 7th, and I'm still crying with all the Palestinians and Israeli that lost loved one. But I want to offer them and to tell them and to inspire them that this conflict will end too. And the only way to end it and to end the bloodshed and to find cure and healing is through working together. The Palestinian Israelis, the bereaved families, we must work together to make sure that we stop sacrificing our life and our loved one. And if in Rwanda they were able to reconcile after a genocide that within 3 months, 1 million people were killed. 1 million people were killed with machetes, with knife, only 31 years ago in Rwanda, and then they've decided to reconcile. And if the Jewish people was able to reconcile with Germany, only a few days after the October the 7th attack, a neighbor of my parents, a survivor of the Hamas attack, sent me a message from Berlin, less than 80 years since the end of the Second World War and the Holocaust. And if a survivor from Netiv HaAsara can find shelter in Berlin, so we can find shelter for both people, for Israelis, for Palestinians, and the shelter must be on our beloved and shared land. And we're going to do it. And more and more people are joining our movement. Many more people are joining the It's Time Coalition, a coalition of 60 civil society organizations, Palestinian and Israelis. And we are welcoming anyone to join us and to support the future of both people.
All right. Maoz Inon, we hear you. Thank you very much for coming on Al Jazeera.
Thank you very much.